Hazel Bauman. I'm Superintendent of Schools, the Coeur d'Alene School District, a position that I absolutely adore. I love my job every day. It is such meaningful work, and I have been a lifelong educator, actually having taught for a couple of years in Canada and then arriving in Coeur d'Alene in 1974. I can't think of a better place to be, to do the work of education. We have 10,200 children in our school district, and each and every one of them deserves a quality education, an education that opens their minds and their hearts and their souls to what they can become. And I believe we're well on our way to providing that. It's a journey. We're never going to be there, never going to have it completed, but every year we get a little better. And every year our teachers are striving to do the very best they can. So it's a great labor of love. Well, I started off as a teacher of children who have special needs, children who were actually deaf and blind, just like Helen Keller. And then I moved into teaching children maybe on the other end of the spectrum, children that were very, very gifted. And taking those two extreme ends of the spectrum, I found a natural piece of my career to be teaching teachers about learning. And so I spent some time in higher education, working for the University of Idaho here in Coeur d'Alene, and then came back to the Coeur d'Alene School District after my children were both in school, and really dedicated myself to curriculum and teaching strategies and how to make every single teacher in this district the very, very best educator they can be. Very clear moral purpose in my career, and that is that public education is an opportunity to level the playing field. And level the playing field by all the way while keeping the standards really high. To provide opportunities for our boys and girls that come to us from homes in poverty, homes that have huge challenges, that they can open doors for themselves through our schools and have a chance at the American dream. And I really believe that in my heart. I believe that education is a series of openings of doors, and that as educators, that's our job, to provide that foundation, that background, and every day that keeps me going. Education is a political endeavor. I didn't realize that when I first started teaching when I was 19, but as I have progressed through the various seats in the organization to the one I now occupy as superintendent, it has become apparent to me that it is political. And I believe one of the reasons it's political is because we are using taxpayer dollars. And so we have to be incredibly good stewards of the public's money and make sure that all the efficiencies and all of the checks and balances are in place so that we keep the trust of the public and keep the politics basically out of the classroom. So that's a challenge, is to always be as transparent and as open and as honest and reach out to people from across the political spectrum who may or may not have some of that trust. But generally speaking, I like to say to know us is to love us, and once people get to know us, they realize that we are good stewards and we are doing the best job we can possibly do. Clearly we have some schools that have a tremendous level of poverty. Bora Elementary has 80% of the students qualify for free or reduced lunch, which is our benchmark for ascertaining poverty levels. There are things we can do. We can provide more social services to that school in the form of counseling, social work, outreach to parents, programs that bring parents into the school, programs such as the backpack program where kiddos can go home on a Friday with a backpack, discreetly with a backpack full of nutritious food for the weekend. Because what we were finding was that the last meal they were eating was Friday lunch until they arrived back on our doorsteps Monday morning. they might be eating some food over the weekend, but it wasn't nutritious, it wasn't necessarily a good, healthy diet. And in some cases, they literally were not eating over the weekend. So we have opportunities. Just recently, a philanthropic group came to one of our elementary schools with brand new shoes. And each child, one by one, was taken privately into the office and presented with the new shoes, and their little faces just came alive. And so the community partnerships that the Coeur d'Alene School District enjoys with this fabulous community can level the playing field and can mitigate the effects of poverty if we all pull together. Well, it's a new day in public education. We are not the only show in town, and frankly, it's a good thing. While it can hurt a little when we lose kids to other venues, because as you may know, we derive our income source through the number of children that we have in seats. The state funds us on that basis. But on the other hand, as Stephen Covey says, it has helped to sharpen our saw. We have to be competitive. We have to provide programs and schools that parents will now choose versus that was the only option in years gone by. So one of our responses to having these other choices or options is to create what we call schools of choice or magnet schools. And we started off with Sorensen, which is sort of the poster child for our magnet schools. Downtown school that probably would have closed because of losing enrollment, but a group of very passionate educators and parents and business people in the downtown area came together with an idea and formed the Sorensen Magnet School for the Fine Arts, and it has just taken off. It's an amazing success. So on its heels was Ramsey Magnet School for Science and Lakes Magnet Middle School for Science and the Arts, and the primary years program up in the north in Hayden Meadows, which is the primary version of the International Baccalaureate program. We're just now about to open our professional technical high school, which is also a school of choice, and our community has responded very positively to those choices. We have literally hundreds, if not thousands, of kiddos going to a school other than their neighborhood school because that school offers the flavor or the focus, if you will, that meets that child's learning style, meets that family's values, and we are not declining in enrollment, which is I think a testimony to our entrepreneurial spirit in this sort of brave new world of public education. I would love to see a foreign language immersion school. I think Coeur d'Alene is big enough and sophisticated enough now to support such a school. What I need is a principal and a staff who are willing to take that on, because that's not the kind of thing that you can make successful with a top-down mandate. It really needs to be a grassroots movement, as all the other schools of choice have been. But I'm sowing the seeds for that grassroots movement, and I'm optimistic that in the next few years we might be looking at yet another, probably elementary school that would be able to offer foreign language all the way through. I think the main raison d'etre of schools is academic excellence. Clearly we have a well-rounded program of activities that includes music and the arts and drama and sports, of course. But really, the job number one is to make sure that children have an academic background that, again, as I spoke to earlier, keeps all those doors and those options open. And I'm so very proud of the work that we have been able to do in the Coeur d'Alene School District to now end up being the preeminent, maybe one of the preeminent, but the preeminent large school district in the state of Idaho. We have just improved and improved in our ability to teach children to be literate and to be numerate, and that is evidenced by our test scores, which year after year turn out to be the highest test scores of any of the larger districts in the state of Idaho. And that just is testimony to the work of the teachers in the classrooms. And this is a self-fulfilling prophecy, because what happens then, as I talk with my counterparts, CEOs of business and industries and other organizations in town, is success breeds success. And people who are looking to relocate to Coeur d'Alene or to continue to live here have faith and trust that their children can get a quality education in our schools, and so our community continues to thrive even in tough economic times. And so this circle of education, this circle of support is really a phenomenal positive attribute of Coeur d'Alene. Well, I think one of the future opportunities is to continue diversifying the choices through schools of choice and magnet schools in the Coeur d'Alene School District. I also think another major opportunity is for our youngsters to continue to work with NIC so that they can start to and do get college credit as well as high school credit, and that can again open those doors. Sometimes we have students who no family member has ever gone to college, and by the fact that they can earn a couple of college credits in high school, the possibility, it sort of strikes them, oh, maybe college isn't out of reach for me. So I think that's a really great opportunity to expand our partnership with North Idaho College in the future. And also the final one would be professional technical education. It's clear that not everybody needs a four-year degree or wants a four-year degree, but every student graduating from our school district needs to go onto some sort of post-secondary training opportunity, if not college, so that they can earn a living wage when they enter the world of work. And our professional technical high school that will open this fall is a great example of a step in that right direction. I'm proud of what I have accomplished to date, but I'm also very aware that there's a lot more to do, and I just feel so blessed to have a career that I believe is a meaningful one that changes lives, albeit I'm several steps removed from the actual teaching of children, but putting into place supports and structures so teachers can in fact change lives one at a time.